This presentation will cover all requirements from the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life related to facilitating a recruitment or intake process for your chapter. The Guidelines for New Member Education is a document that is accessible 24/7 on the Fraternity and Sorority Life website. The purpose of this document is to provide organizations, their advisors, and prospective new members with a resource regarding recruitment and new member education. Chapter members, advisors, and Fraternity and Sorority Life staff will work together to ensure a positive experience for all is involved. In order for FSL to assist organizations with recruitment and new member education, as well as to prevent policy violations, chapters must adhere to the following guidelines if they are to conduct recruitment and new member education at Northwestern University. All guidelines can be found in the Guidelines for New Member Education. Your support system for recruitment and intake include your chapter coach, which is the designated staff member from the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life assigned to your chapter at the start of each academic year. Your alumni advisor, the volunteer assigned to support your chapter by your international organization or headquarters. Regional or national staff members or volunteers from your international organization or headquarters. Your chapter president and other executive board members of your local chapter. There are several requirements regarding the eligibility of chapters to participate in a new member process or a recruitment or intake process. Chapters interested in facilitating recruitment and new member education must be in good standing with Fraternity and Sorority Life, their governing councils, and their national organization. Recruitment and intake may only take place during the fall, winter, and spring academic quarters. Recruitment events or new member processes are prohibited from taking place during academic breaks, including spring break. Requests for exemptions can be made to your chapter coach. Prospective members must be initiated into the organization in the quarter in which they receive a bid or invitation to membership. All required documentation must be submitted with an initiation date that takes place within the same quarter. Failure to initiate within the quarter bids are extended, unless discussed and approved with the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life, will result in the notification of international headquarters or international organizations and potential additional requirements, inclusive of possible advisor attendance at all new member and recruitment activities the following quarter. Additionally, for Panhellenic Association chapters, you must be below total to be eligible in COB quarters in alignment with NPC policy. The intent for new member education is found on the Fraternity and Sorority Life website, as well as within the Guidelines for New Member Education document. Chapters must complete and submit an intent for new member education no less than 2 weeks in advance of recruitment activities. This includes if you intend to have recruitment activities but not complete a process. Any changes require a resubmission of documents no less than 1 week in advance of any original dates. This includes a change in your initiation dates. A new member presentation is a formal public debut of newly initiated members that celebrate the completion of the membership intake process, introducing new members to the campus community through stepping, strolling, and the revealing of their identities. New member presentations are often utilized by culturally based organizations in the Multicultural Greek Council and the National Panhellenic Council. If applicable, chapters must submit and complete a new member presentation agreement no less than 2 weeks in advance of recruitment activities. Any changes require a resubmission of documents no less than 1 week in advance of the original date for approval. 1 new member presentation is permitted per day. Preferred dates and times for member organization presentations are done on a first-come, first-served basis. A representative from the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life will confirm with the chapter whether or not the requested date is available. The chapter requesting the same date as the pre-submitted chapter will be asked to reschedule. There are additional requirements for new member presentations outlined in the Guidelines for New Member Education and New Member Presentation Agreement, including information on scheduling as well as the following. All new members participating in presentation must have completed member registration and any relevant hazing prevention modules. Failure to complete by new members may result in cancellation of the presentation. The chapter coach or their designee and the alumni advisor must be present at new member presentations. Therefore, presentations should be scheduled on their availability. The location for the presentation must be reserved in advance, and if the presentation is outdoors, an indoor backup location must also be booked. Presentations must not conflict with each other. If a scheduling conflict arises, chapters will be notified and work with their chapter coach to resolve it. Organizations may only host outdoor presentations if the temperature is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Presentations must begin within 20 minutes of the scheduled and advertised start time. Chapters are required to provide an always answer phone number to the chapter coach or their designee for the duration of the event. All students will abide by Northwestern University policies, including the Student Code of Conduct and any hazing policies. Absolutely no physical and/or verbal abuse will be tolerated. In the event of a violation of university policy, Student Code of Conduct, and/or hazing policies, the presentation will be stopped immediately. Disruptions by other attending organizations will not be tolerated. This includes, but is not limited to, walking through presentations, speaking over presenting organizations, etc. No mentioning or reference to hazing will be tolerated. This includes, but is not limited to, mentioning or making reference to skating, being paper, etc. No references are to be made of any individuals departing new member education. Defaming commentary, profanity, and degrading language towards other organizations and/or individuals will not be tolerated. Lewd or sexually explicit language is not permitted at any point during the presentations. Presenting organizations are responsible for the actions and behaviors of their guest. It is expected that all guests respect university policies, inclusive of the Student Code of Conduct, hazing policy, and guidelines outlined in this document. As previously stated, these guidelines have been developed so that new member presentations remain a positive aspect of the experience for chapters, new members, and the campus community alike. These presentations are about your organization and its new members. Always keep that in mind as you develop your presentation. Safety of all of those involved and mutual respect between chapters is the cornerstone for a positive new member presentation. There are several requirements that chapters become responsible for when having new members that their new members must complete upon joining or accepting a bid. These requirements include the candidate notification form. NPHC and MGC chapters must complete a candidate notification form once the identified initial group of students who will participate in new member education and initiation processes are identified. Member registration form. All members must complete a member registration form, which includes the authorization of grade disclosure and acknowledgement of the hazing policy. New members must complete this within 1 week of beginning a new member process. Hazing prevention module. Temporarily for 2026, first year and transfer students have already completed a new hazing prevention module. However, any upperclassman who joins in winter 2026 and beyond will be assigned and required to complete the new module within 1 week of it being assigned. Information regarding the 2026-2027 hazing prevention module will be forthcoming, rolled out to chapter presidents likely in fall of 2026. Hazing is any intentional or unintentional situation created or action committed that a reasonable person would consider to cause mental, physical, or emotional discomfort and is for the purpose of admission to, affiliation with, initiation into, or is a condition for continued membership in any group, team, or organization. This applies to situations and actions that occur on or off university premises and whether the situation or action is presented as optional or required. Acceptance or consent by incoming new or continuing members of said group, team, or organization does not then authorize the situation or activity to occur. Members in positions of leadership or power within the group, team, or organization who fail to report an act of hazing committed against other individuals may be held accountable for violating the hazing policy. Northwestern University has concluded that pledging is not a prerequisite for membership into undergraduate fraternities and sororities. Since hazing is a violation of Illinois state law, university policy, and now federal law, the selection of new members must be free from any hazing. Information on the Illinois hazing law can be found on Northwestern's hazing prevention website by going to Responsibilities and then Illinois law. This provides an overview of the law surrounding hazing in the state of Illinois. Additionally, if you go to Hazing Transparency Report, you'll find information on the Stop Campus Hazing Act, also known as SCHA, which is a federal legislation signed into law as of December 2024. This has 3 important aspects: the addition of hazing to clearer reporting requirements and the campus's annual security report, the requirement of campus-wide research-based hazing prevention programs and policies, and increased transparency regarding organizations that have violated the campus hazing policy through the publication of a hazing transparency report for the campus. This can also be found by scrolling down on this specific page. There are several ways to advertise recruitment on campus. The advertising module for CATS on Campus will cover all of the available resources and outlets on campus for amplifying recruitment and intake opportunities. Additionally, the quarterly Student Orgs and Activities Fair is an excellent resource for groups to establish a presence and connect with students. The Org Fair registration is available by chapter for NPHC and MGC organizations, and one table per council is provided for IFC and Panhellenic organizations. This is due to IFC and PHA participating in a collaborative recruitment process. Org Fair registration is available on CATS on Campus and typically has a firm deadline. Be sure to check out CATS on Campus to ensure your organization registers on time. Northwestern is home to 4 unique council communities: the Interfraternity Council, IFC, the Multicultural Greek Council, MGC, the National Panhellenic Council, NPHC, and the Panhellenic Association, PHA. Each council has their own unique history, processes, and traditions. Each council may have additional requirements, expectations, and policy regarding recruitment or intake that are managed by council executive officers. The bylaws for each council can be found on corresponding council pages on CATS on Campus. IFC and Panhellenic chapters participate in a collaborative, council-facilitated recruitment process with common start and end times, where community kickoffs, coordinated community events, and schedules are utilized. MGC and NPHC chapters typically utilize an intake-based membership recruitment process facilitated by chapters rather than councils, where students express interest in a specific organization and attend an informational meeting to learn more about its mission, history, and expectations, and then receive information regarding next steps for joining. There are many ways to build community across councils within FSL. The FSL website is a great place to get started. On the FSL website, in addition to finding all of the described forms and documents, which can be found under Current Members, Forms and Documents, there is also up-to-date contact information for all chapter presidents and council executive boards. Reaching out to peers within fraternity and sorority life is a great place to get started in fostering relationships with chapters outside of your own. To find chapter and president contact information, go to Our Community, select the corresponding council, and then from the left-hand toolbar, you can find contact information for executive officers and chapter presidents. This applies for each council. You'll be able to go in and find the contact information of the corresponding chapter presidents across all 4 of our councils. In addition to contact and chapter information, the FSL website also has a calendar of upcoming events. Members can utilize this to advertise their own events or find events sponsored by other chapters that they wish to support. This calendar can be found under How to Join Upcoming Events. This will also include fraternity and sorority life required events. Thank you for reviewing. Should you have any questions regarding recruitment and intake, your fraternity and sorority life chapter coach is best positioned to answer any questions you may have. Your chapter advisor, regional representative when applicable, and headquarters staff are also excellent resources in supporting growth and new member education. As a reminder, you must initiate members in the same quarter in which they are extended a bid or begin a new member process. You may recruit every quarter if deemed eligible by your council when applicable.